how Fortunes always used to say, sacked in the morning, you're getting sacked in the morning. Ruben Amorim just got sacked by Manchester United. After 14 months, a 15th place finish last season, and not winning the Europa League, the epitome of inconsistency this season pretty much, and speaking out against Ineos, the club owners, and so on. Now, the crazy thing is that Amorim did probably not get sacked for the results, but for speaking out against the club owners, against Ineos. And it shows you how much of a mess clubs and their ownerships are right now in this moment. Not just Chelsea, not just Wolves, but also Manchester United. Now, a few weeks ago, the club owners were basically talking about giving Amorim 3 years of time. Project 2028, I think, is what they said. Winning the Prem in 2028. Because he spoke out against the ownership and said he was not hired to be a head coach, but a manager who also has a saying in how the club is run, which players he wants to bring in, how much money he spent, etc. That's what he basically said he wanted to do, but he's not allowed to. And he was apparently also signed, so the paperwork says that, as a head coach, not a club manager. So I don't know what Amorim personally is on about here, but yeah, the way he talked in his last press conference, the writing was on the wall that he's out. Now let's look at the stats. Ruben Amorim, out of the permanent managers since Sir Alex's retirement, was the worst one. And he wasn't just the worst one, he was the worst one by far. A win percentage of sub 50%. Every other manager since Sir Alex, Mourinho, Ten Hag, Solskjaer, Van Gaal and Moyes, had a win percentage of 50% or higher. This difference in itself, 31.9 to 50, is higher than 50%, so he is at least 50% worse than every manager since then, his win percentage. He has 15 wins, 13 draws and 19 losses. 4 wins less than he has losses. You know how diabolical this stat right here is. So it hasn't worked out for his system, it hasn't worked out in terms of results, and it also hasn't worked out in terms of performances. So Manchester United haven't looked good consistently, they haven't won anything, and they are now in a situation where they could easily drop off the table. The question is, what now for Manchester United? There is still the possibility to get a Champions League spot this season because the table is very volatile, and the likes of Liverpool, the likes of Newcastle, the likes of Chelsea have been very inconsistent this season. Now, look at the table. It is still salvageable for Manchester United to get something out of the season, to get a Champions League spot. There are only 3 points of Liverpool, same points tally as Chelsea, but also in the other direction, all the way down to 14th, which is Crystal Palace. It's only a 4-point difference to Manchester United, only a 7-point difference to the last Champions League spot, definitive Champions League spot. It could be that the 5th place will be a Champions League spot for the English Premier League. We'll see about that at the end of the season. So if they now bring in a competent enough manager, this could work out. So what's next then for Manchester United? Which managers could they appoint? Actually, someone in this graphic, a former Manchester United manager, could be up for the job again, which is Oli. Fabrizio Romano tweeted out that Manchester United, aware of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer being keen on return even on a 6-month contract. Solskjaer would love to be back and help Man United as caretaker manager. Manchester United start internal process today to assess short-term options, then new permanent manager from June onwards. So Oli would then stay the rest of the season. And why? Because Darren Fletcher, former Manchester United player, would be the interim for at least this week. So now the Manchester United board are eyeing on options for either a permanent manager or a caretaker manager for the rest of the season. Now, Oli has done pretty well in the past with Manchester United. He's helped them reach multiple Champions Leagues. So he has done it before and he could do it again. Manchester United do, of course, have a good enough squad to reach the Champions League. So another one, Oliver Glasner. Now, apparently, Indy Kyler just tweeted out that Oliver Glasner has prepared a 1,000-page report on Manchester United's tactics this season. He knew his time would come for an interview at the club. I don't know if this is true. Now, Indy Kyler is a very reliable account normally, so I will trust them in this one. But the thing with Oliver Glasner is he does have his, I guess, own problems, apparently, with Steve Parish, Crystal Palace club owner. So if they bring in Oliver Glasner, he's not a yes man, and they will want a head coach, not a manager. So Oliver Glasner is more of a manager because he has a saying in terms of transfers, from what I've heard so far. So is he really the right man? He's been rumored to, but I don't know if they give him the privileges he needs to run and help Manchester United to move on and to get better in the future. Out of the former managers, of course, Oli, as said, even Ten Hag apparently could be on for a return, which would be absolutely diabolical. Some fans consider him the most destructive manager Manchester United ever had. Then we got some more options in the form of, well, Ten Hag. Xavi Hernandez would be interesting. However, he's not as familiar with Manchester United as he was with Barcelona at this time. Of course, he knows the club. Manchester United, he doesn't know the club, so we'll see if that would work out. Maresca would be pretty interesting, but I don't think they would consider him because of the problems he just recently had with the Chelsea owners. And Zidane, he just won't come, to be fair. Now, I've also heard about Julian Nagelsmann, who could be available if he leaves the German national team job after the World Cup. Of course, successful big club manager with Bayern. Just look at the stats for him. So his Bayern record was 60 wins, 14 draws, 10 losses, 255 goals scored and 84 conceded, 71.4% win rate, 1 Bundesliga, 2 German Super Cups, and 8 out of 8 wins in the UCL in 2022-2023. So he can definitely manage a big club, but he's probably also not the yes man they are searching for. Even worse, in terms of a coach also wants to manage the club and not be a yes man, is Thomas Tuchel. Personally, these Manchester United bosses would love someone like Thomas Tuchel or Julian Nagelsmann because what they've achieved, but I don't think it just wouldn't work out. And I think these managers wouldn't consider even going to Manchester United because of the ownership problems, because of Ineos, because of Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Omar Barada. Thomas Tuchel, obviously successful Dortmund, Chelsea coach, even at PSG for a brief time. He's managed multiple big clubs, won the Champions League with Chelsea, so he could be another option. He knows the English Premier League well. He's probably the best option because of that. Because you might say it's also an adaptation period for managers in terms of the style of play of the league and so on, but Tuchel knows the Premier League better than anyone. He also recruits the best Premier League players into his national team as well. So he still has his connections to the Premier League, or a big connection to the Premier League, because most of his national team players are playing in the Prem. And Iraola is probably the last one on the list. Well, because I'm just now reading it, Eddie Howe could also be an option, but I don't think he will leave Newcastle. Now, Iraola is a very good manager, even though Bournemouth are now 15th in the table, but they're only 11 points off Liverpool and 8 points of United and Chelsea. So it's a very volatile, a very close table still. So I don't want to yet say, or don't want to just say that he's a bad manager, because he's not. He's shown so much with Bournemouth. He lost his whole backline, replaced them with completely new players. He lost Hausen, Sabani, Kepa, Kerkes last season, and they're still playing well, Bournemouth. They also drew to Manchester United, conceding for, but also scoring for, because it was a 4-4 a few weeks ago. Iraola, normally, I guess this is kind of a stereotype, but Spanish managers, they just have something about them. Most of the times they work out because they're probably, it's tactical knowledge, I would say, with the Spanish managers, with the likes of Arteta, Emery, Pep Guardiola. Even Xabi Alonso, I think, has done a very good job at Madrid so far, personally. Good job, and a very good job at Leverkusen before that. Fabregas could be another one, and Iraola. So they have so many good Spanish managers now. Yeah, maybe Fabregas would be probably the last option, current Como manager. But I don't think they would like him that much, because he was a former Arsenal player. It's just the Manchester United fan base though. Still, even that can sometimes work out. This is also quite interesting. Seeing him smile after getting sacked. Manchester United took the joy out of him. Yeah, maybe they did. But yeah, guys, comment down below who will be the next Manchester United manager. Will he be better than Amorim or not? Will it be a inexperienced manager like Liam Rossigna that signs permanently with Chelsea, or that signed permanently with Chelsea a few days ago? Or will it be a big name? Comment your thoughts down below, and I'll see you very soon. Take care.